Kevin, the March to Mania, we're pushing on, pal. We're going to the Elimination Chamber.
Pal, I
Okay.
have a question for you. All right, I'm sorry to cut you off. I have a question. I'm just gonna jump right in, pal, right into the lava. Is Drew McIntyre, this version of Drew McIntyre, is that the best heel that WWE's had in this whole decade? In the 2020s, is Drew McIntyre, this current version of him, the best heel that WWE's had? Let's think about that.
It's him or specifically 2021 Roman Reigns.
Right.
That's your options because that version of Roman was like a fantastic heel and excellent, but there's been stuff since. Drew, oh my god, like what he's doing right now is so good. Kevin, I'm watching Raw. Drew McIntyre standing in the ring with that incredible CM Punk WrestleMania main event, WrestleMania 40 main event, January
Man.
2024, January 2024, him taking a selfie at the grave. That is one of the best shirts in wrestling the past 10 years. I'll happily say that, Kevin. But yeah, I'll ask you, Drew McIntyre, I mean, the best work of his career, right?
Absolutely. 100%. I was looking at that t-shirt that he made with CM Punk, and he's doing the meme, and it's like, here lies CM Punk's main event, WrestleMania main event, 2024 to 2024. And the whole time I'm thinking this. Why couldn't AEW have done that? Like, why? But here's the answer to the question. Yes, this version of Drew McIntyre right now is the best heel, like the best true heel. Like, there was Roman Reigns in like 2017-18 that was a heel because he was being booked poorly or whatever. But this version of McIntyre is like a guy that you want to see get beat. This version of Drew McIntyre, I want to see him beat Seth Rollins at WrestleMania. And I want to see him just rub it in for 3 months in Phil's face. Like, you're in physical therapy, bro. Work on your triceps. I'm living your dream. I main evented WrestleMania. I took your spot. I beat Seth Rollins for this championship. And then CM Punk comes back and boom, there's money, pal. That's CM Punk versus Omega at All Out 2023 on steroids. That's the match. Like, that's just the match that WWE should do. It like at this point, McIntyre, he's carved out a spot for himself. He went from being in the background. He went from like throwing swords at Indian men and being in random mid-card matches with Sheamus and whoever else you want to insert in there.
Corbin, Madcap Moss. Oh.
Yeah, now and then he went from being like the third or fourth, maybe fifth option. Hey, WWE needs a main event at Clash of the Castle. Here, Drew, go face Roman. Have a good match, pal. Oh, we need you to face Gunther at SummerSlam in a big match. Here, do that, pal. Now McIntyre's forced everyone, wrestling fans, peers, the backstage, he's forced everyone to take note of him. He's doing arguably the best work of his career, and some people thought, like myself, that he kind of peaked out. He had a nice little hot run in 2020, had an Ultimate Warrior-like run, and that was it. That was the end of McIntyre. But no, he's reinvented himself, and I think with this run now, he's got more lasting power at the top.
And one thing which, as we discussed when we did our top 50 especially, all the greats had pretty much more than like one little run. Drew obviously had his big hit in 2020 and the start of 2021 before it seemed like he fizzled out. And as you're saying, it seemed like, where to from here? Is this just another upper mid-card guy who's like a utility player? Is that just all Drew's going to be? But no, now this stuff's phenomenal. And he has by far the most heat in the company. He needs to be the one to dethrone and beat Seth Rollins in the main event of WrestleMania or night one. If that's the direction they go, I think Drew McIntyre, this character, destroying and dismantling Seth Rollins to win the world title, that's a good main event of night one. I'd probably rather see that than the Rhea Ripley Becky Lynch match. That's like a better like a dream match in that sense. But the hate this Drew McIntyre thing's got going on is fantastic. It's so real. It's authentic. He can get his WrestleMania moment now, and he's really like earned it. It's not just him complaining about missing his moment over and over. Now he gets the WrestleMania moment, hypothetically. Let's say he wins the Elimination Chamber, whatever they do, however they get to him versus Seth Rollins. And then he just rubs it in Phil's face for months. Every week on Raw promos. Hey, Phil, how's rehab, clown? Look at this, bitch. And he's like, he's looking down the barrel. I'm talking to you, Phil. I'm talking to you, Phil. Like, he's just, and you got that show, like, or interview CM Punk, and he's just like, I'm going to kill that guy when I come back. I'm going to kill him. This is fantastic. This has so much more hate than the other potential Seth Rollins matches, i.e., Rollins versus Gunther. Great match on paper. That can happen at some other show. That doesn't need to happen right now. Seth Rollins versus Cody Part 4. As they said on Raw last night, Cody's beaten Rollins 3 times and the title doesn't mean anything to Cody. So that's pointless. You've got to do Drew versus Rollins. I mean, Drew hyped up the title last night. It was like, Roman doesn't come to work like ever. You wrestle every week with like a broken back and like an injured XYZ knee, whatever. That your title's the title that everyone should want. I want it, and then once I win in the main event, I'm going to destroy Pepsi Phil. Is what he was like inadvertently saying. So, Kevin, it's just phenomenal. It is great. The shirt he's wearing, it's fantastic. At least I have a nice, clear, good vision with Seth Rollins' title. It seems like if they just go the Drew route, that's a great way to get through to WrestleMania. You have a good, sustainable plan after it. And then there's Roman's title, but we'll get to that.
Yes, we're going to talk about that in just a moment. I'm going to say this, lastly. Yeah. Punk, the last thing he said to us before he walked off to go to rehab and physical therapy and fix his tricep, he said, I'm coming for you, McIntyre, when I'm back. Boom. McIntyre versus Punk, World Heavyweight Championship at SummerSlam. And McIntyre beats the washed-up Punk in 5 minutes, and then they set up a bigger match at Survivor Series or whatever. The story writes itself. Like, I think that's the way you do it. You don't have Punk come in and wrestle like a 35-minute classic and get injured again. Just have McIntyre, like the bell rings, McIntyre's like, look at this little guy. And he Claymore kicks him and boom, we get out of there, you know? Let's not wasting everybody's time. Let that open the show like they did with Bianca Belair and Becky. Just keep it simple, pal. And then Punk can cry and he could build this like underdog story and whatever, so on and so forth. Go ahead.
Yeah, like how and Drew's doing all this as well, which I love. You have Drew in his promo be like, Punk, before you worry about this beautiful title I've got on my shoulder, which I'm doing a great job holding the title in, which I won in the main event of WrestleMania, Phil. Before you worry about this, how about you physically get through a 10-minute singles match? And so Drew, they have segments. He talks to Adam Pearce, and they book CM Punk versus like some literal like enhancement talent, like Hiro Tozawa in a match. And Drew's on commentary like, oh, let's see if he gets to the 10-minute mark, like hurting his tricep again.
Yeah.
Look at this clown over here, old man. I'm the world heavyweight champion. What's he going to do to me, huh? Like, they're just really building it up. And it makes you wonder, as you just said, why couldn't they have done this in AEW? Would this have been so hard for the Young Bucks or Kenny Omega to do? Just coming out saying, Punk's dream world champion run, and it's just them pointing to a picture of a gravestone. That's not hard. It's not hard. Like, we're not asking for like the world, but they just couldn't be professional enough to do that. They couldn't sit down with Phil in a room and go, cool, for the next week or two on Dynamite, we'll wear this shirt, which we're going to make. Then you're going to cut a promo saying something like this. Then we're going to do this. Then we're going to lead up to Omega versus Punk, and then the Young Bucks versus Punk's Boys FTR or something or whatever. They couldn't have done that in AEW, I guess. Like, it wasn't professional enough. But now, pal, Drew McIntyre is wearing that amazing shirt. It's like,